Hello, it's Steph from the Canadian Schoolhouse, and today I'm here to talk about really three important things. Um, Three important things to a homeschooler, but I really found that this topic was and just what I felt really called and to talk about today, and it is about parenting, teaching, and discipling that, and just how that all meshes together. Now, this full-on parenting, and I feel like every homeschooler is can relate to that when we are just taking on every aspect of raising our kids. This full on or full time rather parenting is what we is what I really relate to anyway. I have actually often said, and I think most homeschoolers would agree with that. Like, I actually find it easier to parent my kids when I don't send them to school, and I have had that experience with one of my children where I sent him to school regularly. But I with my two younger boys who are now 10 and 13, they have only been homeschooled, and just the difference and being and I am no I am so far from a super mom, and getting everything right and doing everything. So that's not saying like, oh, like since I have the kids around me and under my watchful eye all the time, like I have got many testimony of me just falling down and God picking me up again in this parenting journey. Some of it to do with educating my kids, and some of it to do with just parenting. But I really wanted to talk about that full-time parenting, and whether you do send your kids to school. If you're watching this, not happen to be a homeschooling family right now, I really encourage you to just look, to just imagine how that can be for your family, how great that would be if you didn't have the influence of somewhere else. So when we are sending our kids to an institution for an education, they are getting influenced by so many different things. And whether it's public school or private school, certainly with a private school, when you have the money to afford that kind of tuition, that's great. You certainly get a pick. You're picking that private school, so you're going to be in line with what they're offering to a point, especially as many of Christians are really feeling connected to sending their kids at least to a Christian school, right? So just imagine how you can even more so make that instrumental in their lives to not only just get that Christian teaching from other people, really great people, even in the public school system. There are very great teachers in there, and I am really not knocking about all the honorable and wonderful people that work in that setting. But when I think there's like a little misconception, and we just had a post on our Facebook page there, and I commented on it just recently, and it talked about I'm not going to remember the exact quote. It had the cute little feet of a little child, and talking about step by step. So how do you parent? How do you educate your kids and teach them all this other stuff? And it's step by step. So the history, geography, science, right? And we do it step by step, and every homeschooler can feel that. We do it step by step. As a parent, we parent our kids step by step. Most parents have got them from that age from 0 to 5 or 4 is often now when the time when kids are put in an institutional setting for their education. And so from 0 to 4, we mostly feel so confident as parents to teach them. And then something happens, and it's more of a societal thing. It's nothing against any individual. It's just the way that our society is right now, that we think, okay, well, somebody else, this organization is going to educate my kids better. And I'm going to tell you that's not true at all. You can educate your kids quite wonderfully and really take on the full-time parenting. And when I took on that full-time parenting, when I decided, with my two younger boys, when my second was born, I decided that I wanted to homeschool. I knew that was how it was going to be. And I was working then. I was working as a hairstylist, and I was working outside the home. But I knew I had to find something that I could work at home, that I could be, that I could still work, not just to bring income in the family, but totally for that reason as well. But also just I felt called to really do something as a career and as a profession. So, and many of you probably feel that way too. Now, many of you, I know many homeschoolers, that taking care and raising their kids and being that stay-at-home mom is the full-time job, and it totally is. And that's great when that's the only thing you do. If that's what you're called to, if that's what God's got on your heart to do, then that is exactly what you should be doing. But I just want to encourage people that if you're thinking, well, I have this job and I can't be at home, there are ways around it. And if I could do that, if I could figure out that way to create a at-home income, an income that I could be at home all the time, then you can definitely do that too. And I encourage you to message me, like on this page, connect with me if you're seeing this video on YouTube. Well, go to our Facebook page. I certainly do look at some of the comments there, but just to find me, Stephanie Morrison, and I'm generally commenting and saying things on the videos here, so you can find me quickly. You can either private message or just comment on the video, and just I would love to help you look at those avenues that you can take if you want to take that homeschooling plunge, and if you want to take down that full-time parenting. Because parenting, as I said, I have found parenting so much easier when I don't have the conflicting views of an education system. And it's not just about what they're getting taught, but it's about all the social interaction and it's not a great scene at school, social wise, not like anything else they ever experience in their life. So there is just ways you can form that, and the full-on parenting. Now, I also want to talk about the next section here is well-rounded teaching. So in that well-rounded teaching, so I'm especially speaking to you that are homeschooling. You've just started on it. Maybe you've got young ones, and it's just like I felt so convicted that that's what I was going to do. So maybe you've got those young ones that are not yet where you're doing some full-time education with them, full-time learning, but you're still, you're a homeschooler. So this well-rounded teaching isn't just about, is not just about teaching the academics. That's part of it. I've got my boys doing, we got courses in covering all the basics, the math, the English, science, geography. We're always doing something in all those subjects. But what I find even better, and what I didn't have with my older son when he was doing the going to school every day thing, is to teach all those other important life skills. And that's what I'm really thinking on in that well-rounded teaching. And our theme this month on the front door, which we call the front door. So every month on the Canadian Schoolhouse website, so it's a section of the website of the old Schoolhouse, and on there, on our front door, we have a theme every month. And this month of April, that theme happens to be teaching multiple children. And if there's lots of homeschoolers, I actually, with only 2 kids, sometimes I felt like I was the odd one out. It seems like the homeschoolers often have nice big families, and the teaching multiple children. And I actually think even teaching multiple children, I mean, it can certainly be at 2 kids. But once you get to 3 and to 4, there's other challenges you need to work out. There's other challenges, especially when you got the little toddlers, and then the ones that are maybe even into high school, right? Very different type of teaching, and there are challenges to overcome in that area. So on our page, our theme, and I'm not going to talk about this too much, but it's a little bit on what I just felt on my heart to talk about of the well-rounded teaching, right? How we can teach all these different aspects of life and we can actually fit them in because our kids aren't going to school. And then when we have multiple children, and I'm not going to be experienced like that a lot, but I know several homeschoolers that have multiple children. And we've got some great articles on the site about that. One of the ones that I especially like, seven tips for teaching multiple children. So it's talking about different ways on how you get your older ones involved. And I love that as one of those life skills. And I actually do that with my two boys as well. So as I said, I had a 10 and 13-year-old. And if my younger one asks me something, then I generally say it to my older one. And so Cruz, what is that? Or I'll even say, just Cruz, can you help him with that? Because I already know he knows that skill, right? As we're going through different, math skills, progressing through all the different, oh my goodness, I was just doing something with my son, and it was hard to get my head around a little bit of exponents and using order of operations, and it was bringing back some of those memories, but of course that's stuff I have not done in a while. So it was a very nice brain exercise for me doing that. But now when my younger son gets to that point, I'm just going to say, Cruz, do you remember that when you did that? Order of operations. You can just sit down and do that with him. And that is one of the wonderful things. I think that's the greatest things too, when you have even a number of kids in a really big age range too, that you're getting the older ones involved with the younger ones, and you can do that in a lot of different ways. So go to that front door page. Christine has put that link in the comments there, and go and see all the content that is there. And so this last little section I wanted to talk about was full-on discipling. I'm going to say that I have, even quite recently, I think I could always see that quite recently, like I had the meltdown, right? I just, I had too much going on, and I got overwhelmed, and I had a little bit of a meltdown. And I didn't let it get me down. I had a time in my life when I would maybe lose it a little bit on my kids, and it would take me a while to get over that. I felt really guilty, just yelling on my kids, and I would feel, I would just have lots of uneasy feelings, and I would let that bother me way too long. And now what I do, whether it's with my kids or in any other situation in my life, I love my worship music. So I get on my phone and I turn on my music app and get some worship songs going, and see how I am just gonna praise and thank God for all the blessings He's poured on my life. And I am totally dependent on God. And since I started doing that, so it's really just been about 13 years that I have, when I first started that relationship with God, and it's just gotten deeper and deeper and deeper all the time. And I love where I am right now with God. I love how I depend on Him, and how He is just seeing me through everything. So that discipling with our kids is exactly what I need to do. And when I mess up, it actually gives me an opportunity to say, you know what, I know that I'm supposed to do the right thing, and I want you to follow lots of those right things that I do. But remember that God is the one you want to depend on the most. And how we do that through reading. Right now we're going through Proverbs. So me and the boys are reading that together. So that's helping with a little bit of reading aloud, but really just going through this Proverbs, getting that nicely ingrained in their mind, and teaching them to just rely on the Word all the time, and rely on that relationship with Jesus. It's one of those relationships that will never let you down unless you want it to let you down, right? And sometimes with the humans in our lives, at least most of the relationships I've ever had, anything that's really deeper, right? It's kind of our human fault, right? That we do let each other down. Sometimes it's because we have a little bit too high expectations of somebody in our life, and they don't meet those expectations. And I am totally guilty of that in a few different relationships. And then sometimes it's just because they, you have a reasonable expectation, I guess. but that they are just, you know, they messed up, and I've been on the side of, yeah, that I have just messed up more than once. And it just gives us great opportunity to be able to teach our kids, right? To just give them that well-rounded teaching of, we don't want to just teach about academics. We don't want to just even teach about, you know, our health and the sports. We want to teach our kids to rely on God, and that we just know no matter what's happening, God has got that for us. So we have got, you know, as I said, going to our front door page, and our theme page for this month is uh, teaching multiple children. And another page I really want to let you know about, because there's lots as well that we've got on the site about discipling. I actually don't know if that term is going to show up much. I should have done that before the video, but we have got lots on the site as well as just really relying on God to lead us in the education that our kids need, and not just the education, but the parenting that they need as well. So that page, that is a search page, and it will just search the Canadian section of the site. But so we've got great Canadian content, and we have this Canadian section of the site just to appeal to to Canadians more, you know, where homeschoolers and Canadians in Canada are not actually really that much different than homeschoolers in the United States. However, we do have different ways of going about things, and just to feel in that same relatable way. We have a Canadian section, but there is tons of stuff. We've got a blog called Homeschooling with Heart. So if you go up to the very top of the website, so if you're on the Old Schoolhouse website, and if you follow that search link that Christine just put in the comments, then you can go to the search page, and it's going to be part of the page, you know, lower down, that you can put in a word something that may be on your mind. I want to know more about, you know, try a few things there. There's already a bunch of articles up, so feel free to scroll through some of those. And then you can go in the search term that's more at the top. I think it's the top bar. It's going to be right at the top bar menu, just that little icon with the magnifying glass. And that one is the search for the whole website. So all of the Old Schoolhouse is going to search all those articles in Homeschooling with Heart. And you're going to find so much doing that search as well that really relates to anything you'd like to know about, but that is relating to parenting in general, and that is relating to just discipling our kids and our role in their lives as showing them the way to Jesus, and sharing that gospel message with them regularly and so lovingly, just letting them know that Jesus loves them no matter what. Even if mommy just really messed up, like, just rely on Jesus and pray for me, please. That's certainly something that I try to impart on my boys. Like, anything that is not feeling right, like, just pray to God, and he just really calms your spirit in the matter, and just that dependence on God. If I teach them nothing else but dependence on God, I know they are going to be set up. I'm still going to teach them that other stuff too, though. But just God will always see them through. And I wish I had that as a child. I didn't grow up in a home that my parents had a relationship with God, and that's fine. That was certainly made my adult perspective different. But I wanted to I want to share that. That just overwhelming urge to just show our children how that life with God is really gonna calm those ups and downs in our lives. So so as far as our live streams, thank you so much for watching right now, and I want you to tune in on Mondays. So I can't April, if you've checked in with any of our other live streams, I've done 2 of them now on Mondays, and that is about our contest. So we have a contest for homeschoolers all April long, so you can submit until April 30th, and that contest is for different kinds of arts categories. So you can submit entries to do with photography, video, creative writing, and drawing and painting. So whatever creative skills you would like your children to to explore, or that your children would like to explore, we've got a lot covered with this contest, and it makes it a really neat way to be motivated to put some kind of little project together. And most of all, most importantly, that we also have an ebook there called Creative Nature Study. And that is, whether you're interested in entering the contest or not, go to that contest page and get that ebook just for some ideas on just being out and nature, really exploring God's creation, and that alone is just going to help you and your kids really be closer to God. Just the more that we're around nature and let that influence us, the more we see this growth at this time of the year is I always find it amazing. And I've gone my 44 years or so of seeing a spring, so it hasn't got old for me yet. In fact, the more I've got to know God, the more amazing and miraculous sometimes all seems that I'm exploring in nature. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and tune in. Our next live stream will be Monday about the contest. As well, I'm going to give you a few little tips about how you can do submission. I believe it's going to be doing the videography submission, and I'll talk about a few other things about our pillars of the old schoolhouse. Bye for now.